Oh, hello there.
To make pasta bake, place a large pot onto your
It's
cooktop
time to
over
play
high
more
heat.
Dead Space.
Fill with
We'll
water
have a
and
grand
bring
old
to a
time
boil.
doing it
Add
too.
400 grams of penne pasta.
Let me just
Cook
make
until
sure all
it's
the audio is
90%
okay.
done. Remove from heat.
Okay,
Drain
epic. Let's do this thing.
and put to one side. In a large
Fuck you,
frying
Electronic
pan,
Arts.
heat 2
Fuck
tablespoons
you.
of oil over
Love you,
medium
Motive.
heat.
You're epic.
Add 3 diced chicken breasts. Cook for 10 minutes until all sides have turned white and any excess liquid has evaporated. Add 1 large
Just gonna play,
chopped onion. Cook until the onion
hopefully do the cheese strat today.
Add 1 chopped red
And
bell pepper,
watch
1
some
chopped
silly
green bell
videos.
pepper, 1
I have a
teaspoon
lot of
salt, 1 teaspoon
Joker-related
pepper, 2
stuff
minced
queued
garlic
up.
cloves, 1 tablespoon tomato
Because I'm going
paste,
through my
1
Joker
teaspoon dried
phase.
oregano, 1 teaspoon dried thyme. Thoroughly mix together.
Let's see,
Add
what
2
were we
cans
doing?
of chopped tomatoes.
Go
Add
to the
1
mining
cup of
deck.
heavy cream.
Alrighty.
Continuously stir until thoroughly combined together.
How
Add
do I
100
open
grams of
this?
spinach. Simmer for 5 minutes. Add the cooked pasta. Thoroughly mix until everything is evenly combined together. Remove from heat. Transfer to a large baking dish. Cover with a generous amount of mozzarella. Carefully place the baking dish in your oven.
Fuck. What's it doing? Sorry, just had a little bit of lag there. Okay. Sounded like a necromorph.
Carefully place the baking dish in your oven.
Now, what's a bigger mystery? Who is How to Basic or who is Cardiff Electric? That's what I want to know.
Mozzarella. Place in oven at 190 degrees, fan forced. Cook for 30 minutes until the cheese is
Oh,
golden
here comes my
brown.
cat. No doubt gonna make
Carefully remove
gaming
from oven.
very difficult for me.
The mining deck systems are running.
You know, I spend all day working to make money to feed him,
Serve
and
enjoy.
God forbid I get 2 hours to myself.
So, what's the verdict? Hammond? Gorgeous.
Yep, he's already making it hard for me. Thank you, bud.
This whole outfit
I love
makes you
it.
look like an angel sent from heaven. You always look pretty, but you've really outdone yourself this time.
Jesus, what is this fucking ad, dude?
Cool, one sec.
Oh my god. Shut the fuck up.
And how you guys doing? You know, in reference to
Doing good,
people
Tony.
that know me in Hollywood, I'm not sure which people want me to mention, you know, them or same thing in reference to ballet. I'm not sure which people in ballet want me to mention them. Or, you know, people that've been in ballet for a long time, or ballet instructors, or
Do love me some Tony Chase.
coaches, particular individuals. You know, it's kind of like I'm not
Oh,
sure
fuck me.
which rhythmic gymnastics coach
Cunt.
them, or which rhythmic gymnastics performer would want me to mention them, or which female actress or female singer, or which, you know, there's some people that know me would say, hey, mention this person, mention that person, you know, which person wants me to mention them. In many of the videos just saying hello, or that they know me, or whichever. So if you want to send a letter, you should know where the address is at. They steal it, sue the government, and I'm supposed to get lawsuit monies too, because you know, it's not just the person
Oh,
who
shit.
sends the postal mail. If they tried to send me a letter,
Yeah, let's
I'm
fucking
supposed
do
to get
that.
paid lawsuit monies too. So just but you know, because the government's disrespecting my protection status and my rights and fan mail.
Wait,
or
what?
friends, you know, these government people trying to steal everything from me is a crime of their positions, and they're corrupting the political system, or they're corrupting the postal system or something. You know, there's lots of things that could be mentioned there. But, you know, in reference to like rhythmic gymnastics coaches, or teams, or individuals that want me to mention them, you know, or if any of them have mentioned me, knowing me, and rhythmic gymnastics or ballet.
God damn it, cat.
They can mention things, you know.
Stop it.
You know, somebody wanted me to mention, I guess, which rhythmic gymnastics girls like me, would think I'm fun to be around or friendly, or which celebrities
see
think I'm
shit.
friendly and fun to be around. You know, it's kind of a point of information.
Dude, fuck off,
You know,
man.
mention that too.
What are you doing?
So, you know, go ahead and make some videos. Want to send a letter or text message? You know, Screen Actors Union has my phone number, and so do some other celebrities. But
Sorry, he's got my
rhythmic
fucking stream all
gymnastics coaches
fucked
or
up
any of
now.
the teams have the phone number or text message.
God
me or
damn it.
email me. But you know, go ahead and do that. I haven't received any of the emails or text messages yet, or any letters in the postal mail. So you know, people can communicate that way. All right, you know, is a point of information of people that want me to mention them, that know me, and you know, points of videos and social media.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Scary Interesting. In this video, we're going to go over 2 more incredibly creepy cases of people disappearing. The first is simply a complete mystery despite a continent-wide search. And the second, although it's sort of solved, it's far more disturbing. You'll see what I mean, and as always, viewer discretion is advised. Before we get into the video, I have something I want to tell you all about. I don't think I've ever mentioned on the channel before, but my post-secondary schooling was in an entirely unrelated field to YouTube. It was actually in exercise science with a focus on public health, and although I ultimately fell into YouTube and decided not to continue the field, health promotion is something I still feel strongly about. So today, I want to introduce you to Smart Fitness Remote Training. Smart Fitness is a strength conditioning
Oh, I hate when these fucking YouTubers
locally and online clients from across
do
the
this
world,
type of shit.
including national level powerlifters, Olympic weightlifters, high performance
Alright,
athletes,
what
teams,
can I do to
youth
the line
athletes,
gun
and maybe
here?
most importantly, people simply wanting to lose weight, get in better shape, or improve their health. It starts with a video call, which will include a full assessment of your training history, injury history, goals, and a walkthrough of what the program is like. From there, you'll be given a fully customized
Not a whole
training
lot right
program to
now.
meet your ability level, goals, and the equipment you have available. This could be just learning the basics if you're a beginner, or advanced power and plyometrics exercises if you're a high-performance athlete. Smart Fitness also includes access to a video library filled with hundreds of videos to learn every movement in the program. So, whether you just want to improve your health and don't know where to start, or you're a high-performance sport or barbell athlete looking to take your training to the next level, I highly recommend you check out Smart Fitness using the link in the description below.
I mean, I guess I'll just save my nodes for now. It's like I need to find some shit.
Importantly, I also want to mention that this is not a paid promotion. This is simply a great service run by a great company for a cause I believe in, which is living a healthier, more active
Sure,
life.
it's not a paid promotion.
In
Yeah,
many
okay.
respects, Connor and
Right.
Sheila Dwyer were the typical Irish couple. They worked hard, minded
Bud
their own business,
Dwyer?
and did their best
What?
to provide for their sons. And by the early 90s, they were looking forward to spending their golden years relaxing, traveling, and enjoying one another's company.
Okay,
At
let's
least
do this,
that was the
cancer.
plan. Friends and family members
All
described
the way
Connor
to the
and Sheila
bottom.
Dwyer as pleasant, upstanding, and hardworking people who generally kept to themselves. Connor was a good-natured, practical joker and jack of all trades, and over the years he was a cabbie, a plumber, and a handyman, and he regularly worked as a chauffeur for a wealthy German businessman who visited the area frequently. On the other hand, Sheila was a polite and reserved homemaker who doted on their sons, Jerry and Connor Jr., and kept the house immaculately clean and well kept. As far as anyone knew, the Dwyers
There
were
we go.
married and didn't have any financial problems, and they lived in a small home in Chapel Hill in County Cork. But by the early 90s, Jerry and Connor Jr. were grown and living in England. At
Come
about
on,
9:30 a.m.
let's go.
on Tuesday, April 30th, 1991, 62-year-old Connor and 61-year-old Sheila walked to a funeral at St. Patrick's Church near their home. Few words were spoken between the attendees, but the Connors exchanged brief pleasantries with a couple of neighbors before taking their seats. Two people attending, the Dwyers weren't acting strangely, they didn't seem to be avoiding anyone, and they weren't in the least bit
Based.
agitated. After the service, a woman named Catherine saw
I love
them
you.
walking away from the
I
church
love this
back
line
toward their
gun,
home
so
on Chapel
cool.
Hill. According to Sheila's sisters, Macy and Nellie as well, nothing seemed to be wrong when they spoke to her the following day by phone. This is important because they've been inseparable since childhood, and Sheila's sister knew her better than anyone else. Macy and Nellie then tried to contact her multiple times over the next 2 weeks, but neither she nor Connor ever answered the phone. Even so, this wasn't initially alarming because they often went on last-minute trips.
Yes, more
sometimes
blood
lasting
and
a week or
viscera
more.
for Isaac. He loves
At the
it.
same time, though, they usually told friends and family members where they were going and when they'd be back. So Macy and Nellie eventually got worried when they still hadn't heard from Sheila or Connor 3 weeks later. They then called Jerry and
God,
Connor
this
Jr.
elevator
to
ride's
see
so
if they knew where
fucking
their
long.
parents were, but they said they were also worried because
Can't
they hadn't
fucking
seen or
stand
heard
it.
from them in some time. This was the last straw for Macy, and she called the Irish police, or Garda, to report them missing on Wednesday, May 22nd, 1991. After the call, officers promptly drove to the Dwyer home and politely knocked on the front door. But when nobody
it's
answered,
locked?
they forced their way in to make sure everything was okay.
Are you fucking
As
serious?
typically was,
I
there
came
was
all
no
this
evidence
goddamn
found.
way
The
just
beds
for
were
it to be
carefully
goddamn
made, and
locked?
values seemed to be missing,
Fuck
but no one
off,
would know where to
game.
be found.
Oh
There
my
was also
god,
no blood,
okay.
no bodies, or any sign that there'd
We'll
been a
do it
struggle
your
or
way.
murder.
We'll do the fucking
The
other
Dwyer's
mission
passports were
first.
even open, and
Whatever.
officers found $1,000 in
I'm
cash
not
stashed
happy
in the
about
kitchen.
that. That is
And in fact,
really
other
fucking
than the Dwyers
stupid.
themselves, the only thing that was
Okay.
absent was their white Toyota Cressida. Officers then questioned
least
Connor
it's,
and Sheila's
only
friends,
one
neighbors,
floor
and
above
family
us.
members to see if they could shed any light on where the couple
Jesus
went, but
Christ,
no one knew
man.
anything. According to them, the Dwyers
That
weren't
is
drinkers,
cancer.
drug users, gamblers, or anything else out of the ordinary. As far as they knew, they also didn't have any enemies or shady business dealings in their past that might account for their disappearance. And at that point, it actually wasn't even clear that they disappeared at all. As retirees and empty nesters, they could have set out on a spur-of-the-moment trip. But again, it wasn't like them to leave without telling anyone, or to stay away from home so long. Unfortunately, though, the case would end up going cold from the very beginning, because the Garda had
Oh,
absolutely no
fuck
means to follow
off,
up on it.
dude.
Even so,
you
they interviewed
serious?
tons of acquaintances, conducted exhaustive ground and air searches, and even dragged a number of lakes and rivers in the area, one of which was the River Blackwater. But unfortunately,
Where?
not a single
Fucking
clue
where?
was ever found. Investigators even checked
Where
ferry
are
and
you,
airline records to see if
cunt?
the Dwyers had left the island by boat or air. But again, their names didn't appear on any manifest.
Not afraid of
In
you.
addition, nobody recalled dealing with a couple matching the description, driving a
Got
Toyota
'em.
Cresta, and even more tellingly, there was no activity in their bank accounts after the disappearance. As is often the case in unexplained disappearances, though, the Garda and Interpol received tips about possible sightings in Ireland, England, France, and Germany. The alleged German sightings were particularly promising because Connor's well-known association with the wealthy businessman. These were unfortunately never substantiated, though, and for some time the case went cold again. But a few years later, a woman named Mary O'Dowd told the Garda an even more compelling story. Mary lived in the town of Ballyvillain, and according to her, she and her son Thomas were delayed at the airport in France in the summer of 1991. This was just a few months after the Dwyers went missing, but Mary and Thomas didn't know about the case at the time. As the waiting area filled up, she asked her son to give his seat out to an older woman traveling with a man who she assumed was her husband. The woman then gladly took Thomas's seat while the man walked to a nearby kiosk to buy a newspaper. As this was happening, Mary noticed that the woman was wearing a scarf and had more than her fair share of powder on her face. The man was wearing
Crack?
a tan overcoat and odd rubber rain boots, and even more suspiciously,
Oh,
he
fuck
never
off,
took his
you
eyes
edgy
off
bastards.
the
No one
way to
cares.
or back from the newspaper stand. Mary wasn't really sure what was going on, but it seemed to her that the woman may have been trying to hide her identity,
Oh,
and the
you're
man
so
kept
scary,
looking
dude.
at her to prevent her from speaking to anyone nearby. Then when the
Man,
man
gonna
came
make
back
some
with the
improvements
newspaper,
to
he
ya.
said something to her, and they both left abruptly. After this strange
you're
encounter,
cool.
Mary O'Dowd forgot all about it until 1993, when she saw the Dwyer case
Bye.
featured on an episode of Crime Line produced by Ireland's national broadcasting channel. She was so sure it was the Dwyers she saw at the airport in France that she called the Garda.
This is epic.
During a later interview with investigators and Sheila's
could
sister
just
Macy, she
kill
described
people on the
exactly what
Ishimura
man
and put them in
wearing.
this and get
according
away
to
with it.
Macy, these descriptions match items of clothes that were missing when she was allowed to search
So
her sister's
cool.
home shortly after the disappearance. The Garda then followed up on the tip and passed the information along to
Dude, I'm
Interpol
just
and
like
French
Patrick
authorities, but
Bateman,
again,
dude.
nothing ever came of it. And despite the case being covered on numerous television and radio programs,
Fuck you,
in
fuck
Ireland
you,
and
fuck you.
England, investigators never made any meaningful headway. After the Dwyers disappeared, as often happens, rumors spread wildly about the couple's fate.
No, fuck
Like,
you.
For example,
It's
one
mine.
rumor surfaced that Connor had gone missing on his own a few years earlier, and that he returned more than a
Bitch.
year later with no word as to where he'd been.
Bitch.
Some other members of the community claimed that Connor and Sheila disappeared intentionally, and that they left their passports and the $1,000 to throw investigators off the
You
trail.
get the fuck back
There
in
were
there.
even rumors that the
piece of
couple
shit.
decided to mutually end things, but nobody could explain what would motivate them to go through with this in the first place. It was also even alleged that Connor had somehow gotten tangled up in the local drug trade shortly before the couple's disappearance. But maybe the most likely theory was that the Dwyer suffered similar fates to a 53-year-old man named William or Billy Fennessy, who went missing 13 months before they vanished. On the evening of March 31st, 1990, he failed to show up at the home he shared with his wife Noreen, just a few miles from Dwyer's house. Billy was an ex-undertaker who was active in local politics, and on the day in question, he was out driving his car. His wife Noreen then reported him missing a few days later and told investigators she had no idea where he was. Billy was declared legally dead in 1997 after a number of unsuccessful searches, and by then, nobody thought the case would ever be solved.
Off.
But in 2013, a local search and rescue organization was conducting a routine training dive in the River Blackwater. On their dive, they came across a rusty, silt-covered car with human remains inside in approximately 12 feet of water. The vehicle was then eventually recovered, and a DNA test proved that the body belonged to Billy Fennessy. Investigators couldn't determine exactly how the vehicle ended up in the river, but it's been suggested that Billy may have fallen asleep at the wheel, swerved to avoid an animal, or had a stroke or a heart attack.
Yeah, this is where we fight
Whatever
the
the
hunter
case,
again.
some locals and investigators thought that there was a good chance that
Hate that
Connor
little
and Sheila
bitch.
Dwyer and their white Toyota Cressida may also be in the River Blackwater. However, the river was searched shortly after the Dwyer disappearance and again after Billy Fennessy was discovered, but nothing was ever found. This isn't particularly surprising since it's known for its deep dark holes that are often referred to as kitchen sinks. And with regular storms and tons of silt and debris, there's no telling where the vehicle could have ended up or how deep they may have been buried if they did end up in the river. And so, that is sort of where the case is today. According to the Dwyer's son, Connor Jr., he can't remember anyone ever not liking his parents or having any grudge against them whatsoever, and understandably, that's exactly what made the case even more perplexing than it already was. Interestingly, during an interview years later, he said that he thought his mom and dad were still alive, and they might actually resurface
Isn't
one
that
day.
scary or
He never
interesting,
elaborated
to
on
be
where he thought they
honest.
were or why they disappeared in the first place, though. So, to this day, Connor and Sheila are still officially missing. Peter Falconio and Joanne
Speed it
Leeds
up a
were
little
often
bit.
described as the perfect couple. The two met in a nightclub in 1996 when they were 24 and 23 respectively, and from the moment they locked eyes, they were almost inseparable. The couple moved in together about a year after dating and were frequent attendees at music festivals, and they loved playing
Didn't
tennis together
ask.
any chance they got. What really ignited their passion for life, though, was traveling, and in November of 2000, they left their home in Brighton, England for the trip of a lifetime. The couple began their extended vacation in Asia, backpacking their way through Nepal, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, and Cambodia, taking in the continent's culture, food, and nightlife as they went. After that, in early 2001, they secured a working holiday visa for Australia and arrived in Sydney on
Edgy.
January 16th. They then spent several months there before buying a Volkswagen Combi van for a road trip that would take them all across the country.
Alright, where are we
Now,
going
while their
now?
respective families encouraged and supported the long multi-continent trip so far, there was a bit
Floor
of apprehension
two,
on the couple's
sure,
Australian life
whatever.
journey. This is because in the previous decade, give or take a few years, there had been a series of strange and tragic incidents in Australia.
There be
Like,
any
for
monsters
example, 7 young
spawning?
backpackers were the victims of an Australian serial offender between
I'm
1989
ready for
and
ya.
1993.
I'll impale ya.
There was also a large shooting in the Australian state of Tasmania that resulted in 35 deaths in 1996. More recently, there was also a fire that was
we
intentionally
go.
set that killed 15 people at a backpackers hostel in June of 2000.
Let's
in
go.
Queensland. Despite these incidents, though, Peter and Joanne saw no reason to worry about their safety, and they did their best to reassure their families that they'd be just fine. So finally, on June 25th, they departed Sydney and began traveling along Australia's southern coast, visiting the cities of Canberra, Melbourne, and Adelaide. From Adelaide, they began the most adventurous portion of their journey around Australia, hopping on the Stuart Highway with the city of Darwin in the Northern Territory as their next intended destination. The Stuart Highway is one of Australia's major roadways and cuts directly through the middle of the mainland, running from Port Augusta in South Australia and ending in Darwin on the north coast. It spans an incredible 1,700 miles, or
Where's my
2,700
spike?
kilometers, which is
Where did
just
I
more
put
than
it?
half the distance of a drive from LA to New York City. And prior to 2007,
Where
there
did
were
I
even
put my
posted speed limits
spike?
on
There
the
it
Northern
is.
Territory section of the Stuart Highway, but Peter and Joanne were in no hurry, so the drive would take them an estimated 31 hours to
Fuck.
complete. At about the halfway point of their trip up Stuart Highway was the town of
Cunt.
Alice Springs, and somewhere between there and Barrow Creek to the north, the couple stopped off at a roadhouse to eat. When they finished
We
their
should
meal,
do a
they paid their
live
check and
stream.
drove off in their van around 7:30 on the
Do,
evening of July 14th, heading north. Immediately after pulling out of the
World
roadhouse
record
parking lot,
for
Peter
most
noticed a
times
white
someone
sport
said
utility
cunt
vehicle
in a
behind
live
him.
stream. That'd
For
be
miles,
fun.
the van followed behind them, and after a while, Peter was sure the driver was going to pass them and continue on his way. After all, with no speed limits, it wasn't uncommon to be overtaken. And sure enough, the van eventually put its turn signal on, but instead of going past Peter, the driver kept pace with him in the opposite lane. Peter then turned his head to make eye contact with whoever was behind the wheel, and he saw a man in his early 40s with a mustache. He was signaling Peter frantically, trying to get him to pull over.
That
Once
guy
Peter
is
realized the man was trying something about
scary.
their van, he slowed down and pulled onto the shoulder. The man then pulled over in front of them, and Peter and the other vehicles met. The driver seemed kind as he told
That
Peter about
guy's
sparks and smoke
scary.
coming out of their van. This was certainly news to Peter, who hadn't noticed anything in his rearview mirror, but it was obviously worth checking out. He then told Joanne to jump in the driver's seat, and the two men walked
Got
out
him.
of the van. On Peter's signal, he wanted Joanne to rev the engine so he could see for himself what was going on. Before that came, Joanne heard a loud blast from behind the van. She then snapped her head.
He did be pretty spooky looking, I will give him that.
The noise came from the van. But a moment later, the source of the sound was clear. At the driver's side window was the other driver with a silver revolver in his hand pointed directly at Joanne. He then ordered her back into the passenger seat and her hands behind her back so he could slap a homemade pair of handcuffs onto her wrists. In her shock, Joanne was initially cooperative, but she realized the man also wanted to find an ankle scope and take a more check, so she started to fight that.
Pretty cool fucking weapon, gotta say.
Dragged her to his van and then forced her through the open window leading to the back bed, which was covered with a canopy. After she landed headfirst in the van, the driver left his vehicle and returned to the area behind the van. While he was doing this, Joanne was looking for any way out. She was terrified of what might happen if she allowed the man to take her somewhere, so while he wasn't looking, she slipped in the back after finding a space between the canopy and the bed. Once she was back on the shoulder of the road, with her hands still cuffed behind her back, Joanne bolted away from the road and hid under some bushes. After the driver was finished with whatever he was doing behind the combi, he returned to his vehicle and immediately noticed that Joanne was missing. With his dog and a flashlight, he then began to search the area around the roadside for Joanne. And during this, both the dog and the driver then passed closely by her 3 times without noticing Joanne, and before long, he returned to his vehicle and took off. However, fearing that this was just a ploy to get her to come out of her hiding place, Joanne remained in the bushes for the next 5 hours,
Mercer's
doing
a
her best to remain
cunt.
calm and still in the extreme darkness. Finally, at about midnight, Joanne emerged from the brush and made her way back to the roadside. And despite how desolate the Stewart Highway is at that time of night, eventually she spotted a large truck coming down the road and she ran toward it. Once the driver saw her, he pulled right over and she got to the truck, where she became hysterical as she rattled off what happened.
Oh,
The truck
this
driver then
area?
took her back to the
This
roadhouse
area's
near
kinda
Bear Creek,
lame.
where police were called. Around 1:30 a.m., detectives quickly made it because they had to drive almost 200 miles to reach it. It was after 4 in the morning before they arrived. But either way, immediately upon getting there, they had Joanne directly to the area where she had been the man.
Ammo here.
While some of the officers searched and gathered evidence, detectives talked to Joanne to get a statement on what happened. Simultaneously, those checking out the scene found some signs of the earlier incident, namely a pool of blood that appeared to be located where the van once
Oh,
sat.
fuck off, dude.
The combi,
Are you
however,
fucking
was no longer located
serious?
in the parkway. At some point, it had been driven
Fuck
near the
off.
into the
And
garage.
you, cat, get off,
Emergency
please.
At around 7 a.m., police finally began a manhunt for the
God
person responsible
fucking
for the
damn it.
description. Although authorities knew right away that this was going to be
I
difficult.
hate that
Of
bullshit.
around 200,000 people living in
Hey,
the
you're
Northern
still in
Territory,
real
the details
time in the
Joanne gave
fucking
police about
shop.
the gunman matched about 10,000
Cat,
residents.
please.
And that's only if the perpetrator was living in the Northern Territory at all. In fact, everything down to the utility vehicle she described was common.
Oh
in
my
that
god,
United
dude.
States. Even
Stop
still,
it.
by 8 o'clock that morning, roadblocks had been set up, but this was more than 12 hours after the incident took place. The man could have been almost anywhere by then. As this was all happening, reports of the incident started getting out in Australia and then internationally. In England, Joanne's mother was watching the news when the story was mentioned without any names of those involved being given, and immediately she knew it had to be Joanne and Peter. Both of Joanne's parents then rushed to the nearest police station to see if they could get any more information on the case, and sadly, Joanne's mother's gut feeling was correct. In the days that followed, Joanne's father and members of Peter's family would travel to Australia to be closer to the investigation. At the crime scene, police conducted extensive searches of the area and even brought in Aboriginal trackers to see what they could find. And strangely, it was found that there was only one set of footprints in the desert around the area where the incident took place, and they all belonged to Joanne. At least that's what the police told the media. And because of this, as often happens with high-profile cases, reporters ran with every possible detail and update, quickly sensationalizing the case, and horrifyingly, Joanne was then placed right in their crosshairs. At first, people marveled at her story of escape, but as time went on without any new developments, Joanne's account of the events on the night of July 14th were put into question. Soon, Joanne was treated in the public eye similarly to another Australian woman named Lindy Chamberlain. Lindy Chamberlain is the famous dingo ate my baby woman who claimed that a dingo had taken her baby from a tent during a camping trip. Media and the public alike then accused her of murder in the face of lack of supporting evidence, and she was eventually charged. Thankfully, she was eventually found not guilty of everything, but it's obviously one of the worst situations a person can find themselves in. In addition, not particularly helpful to Joanne's cause was her silence and distrust of the media, because she refused to speak to reporters for the first few weeks after Peter's disappearance. She eventually agreed to do one interview, but this wouldn't be a press conference. Instead, she'd sit down with one reporter who would ask her a question that she had vetted ahead of the conversation. And unfortunately, even with that being the case, Joanne answered just 3 of the 14 approved questions. Speculation ran rampant afterward, and people began to question how the man's dog could find her, why there was only one set of footprint, and how her description of the truck was unlikely. In truth, however, Joanne said that the man's dog was either a red or blue heeler, which is not a breed known for its sniffing capabilities. As far as the tracks go, police maintained that there was only one set of footprints, but when one of the Aboriginal trackers was interviewed, he told reporters they also found the man's footprints, backing up Joanne's claims. Her story about being shoved into the back bed of the van through the forward cabin hood remained in doubt for a while because this wasn't a common feature of trucks. It took police some time to learn that the interior setup Joanne described was actually available in certain Nissan and Jeep models, but she reported that the van was Toyota. Obviously, given the circumstances, she could have easily been mistaken in the darkness and panic. As this cloud of suspicion grew over Joanne, though, police turned their focus to the one piece of evidence that might be the key to cracking the entire case. On the shirt Joanne was wearing that night was a spot of blood that didn't belong to her or
Where's
Peter.
the last alarm
A
alert?
cross-check of this DNA profile was then done, but no match was found, so police had to rely on old-fashioned methods to narrow down the suspects. They then started with owners of vehicles that matched Joanne's statements and also 36 different men who reported by anonymous callers.
Oh, there we go.
During this part of the investigation, the police came across a man named Bradley John Murdoch, who only loosely seemed to fit Joanne's physical description of man. He was Caucasian and in his early 40s, but not much else matched him, and so, after questioning, he was released without a DNA sample being taken. Interestingly though, Bradley wasn't exactly a law-abiding citizen. He was known to be a drug runner and often traveled the Stewart Highway, but the most alarming detail from his past was an earlier charge of kidnapping. In a separate investigation, when police caught one of Bradley's drug-related accomplices, the man would go on to claim it was Bradley who perpetrated the crime on the side of the Stewart Highway. Police then got a DNA sample from Bradley's brother, and comparing it to the profile obtained from blood on Joanne's shirt, police were certain they had found the gunman. Bradley was then arrested and arraigned on multiple charges, including Peter's murder. He was pleaded not guilty on October 17, 2005, the trial got underway in Darwin before the Supreme Court of the Northern Territory. As the trial wore on, the prosecution's case was damning for Bradley. Joanne testified and identified Bradley as the man, but what was ultimately the deciding factor was the DNA evidence. Traces of his DNA were found on the homemade handcuffs used on Joanne's wrist, and that spot of blood on her t-shirt was confirmed to be evidence. In response, the defense argued that the DNA evidence was contaminated, and while there were some samples that were proven to be corrupted, the blood on Joanne's shirt was not. To explain this, the defense claimed that the blood transfer occurred when both the couple and Bradley were at the Roadhouse at the same time. Bradley said that he had stopped in the same restaurant to get chicken for him and his dog, but when he was jailed, he had to have a specialty diet devoid of chicken because he was so allergic to it, and this obviously contradicted his story both that night in July of 2001. In the end, the trial would go on to last 2 months before the case was handed over to the jury, but deliberations took just 8 hours. Bradley was unanimously found guilty and sentenced to life imprisonment with a non-parole period of 28 years. He has maintained his innocence since his conviction, and thus has refused to tell authorities where Peter is. As of this video, Peter's body is still missing. If you made it this far, thanks so much for watching. If you want to listen to the audio-only version of these videos, you can listen wherever you listen to podcasts. If you want to support the channel, consider joining Patreon and becoming a channel member on YouTube. Also, if you have a story suggestion, feel free to submit it to the form found in the description. Anyways, thanks again, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.
Oh. Shiny thing.
Let the music move you. You can do it.
Don't be shy.
Nah, your mum's your favorite.
Dance.
Supervisor Dallas, run along. Make sure they can't leave this subject.
That's pretty fucking funny. Oh, fuck off. What now? What, am I supposed to be scared because there's no
In 2019,
lights?
the audience's relationship with the Joker was pretty firmly established. Mark Hamill had given an amazing vocal performance in the animated series, Heath Ledger had managed to outshine Jack Nicholson in cinema, and Jared Leto painfully reminded us that just because something is new, it doesn't automatically make it better. And that's why Todd Phillips' Joker raised a few eyebrows before its release. Is this an origin story, a prequel, a loner movie, or all of the above? As the script itself acknowledges, it's not really about the Joker so much as a Joker. It's stated, this story takes place in its own universe. It has no connection to any of the DC films that have come before it. Taking on a character that has already been defined and subsequently redefined is an uphill battle. If you do the same thing, you're a copycat. If you do something classic, you'll be criticized for playing it too safe. Which is why, at the age of 43, Joaquin Phoenix didn't even attempt to build on what any other actor had contributed to the character. He planned to show us something unique. Joker was hailed as an instant classic that captured a real feeling at a certain time in history, a sense that things were spinning out of control. And whether you liked the movie or not, it's hard to deny that Phoenix delivered an unforgettable performance from start to finish. There's simply nothing else quite like it. On paper and in execution, there are thousands of ways this portrayal could have gone wrong. Joaquin is in every single scene, so there was nowhere to hide, but somehow he pulled it off and earned an Oscar for his efforts. Now, normally in my videos I lay out 3 keys to what makes a performance work so well, but upon reviewing Joker, an overarching reason that the character is still empathetic, despite his heinous acts, is because he possesses contrasting personality traits. Phoenix isn't just showing us one thing again and again, he's showing us 2 opposing sides to one individual battling their way to the surface. When the audience witness these wild swings between both extremes, their impression of the character is muddled, as when you're pulled hard in 2 directions, you tend to land somewhere in the middle. So I think framing each key as a conflict makes the most sense, because it's the layers Phoenix shows us in each scene that makes the performance whole. So the 3 keys are weighed down versus free, laughing versus crying, and childish innocence versus deranged anger.
God damn, this
Let's
takes
start with
forever.
grade down versus free. This speaks to the physicality of the performance.
Stinks.
On top of losing over 50 pounds for the role, Phoenix gives Arthur Fleck a unique walk.
Oh
A
my
restricted way
god,
of carrying
dude.
himself. You can see he's
Just let me
physically
go.
weighed down, as if he can feel the forces of the world restraining him. Arms tightly grinding by his side, face pointed south, a limp in his step from being beaten up. We can tell from his walk alone that he's wounded, tired, that he has no confidence, that every day is a slog. This even translates over to his unusual run. It's as if Phoenix has weights in his shoes, the loud clattering with each step. He's going as fast as he can, but it's as if he's battling against more gravity than the rest of us. He also looks like a man who's never been taught how to run, which is a strange thing to say, but speaks to how neglected the character has been. As Arthur himself stated, "For my whole life I didn't know if I even really existed." By physically portraying the character like a chained victim, this inherently makes the audience want him to be freed. Which is why Arthur's other side, his Joker side, is a lot more physically free. Loose limbs, joyful expressions, in tune with a song no one else can hear. A man who seems in control of his own destiny. Phoenix stated that a big influence for his performance was actor Ray Bolger tap dancing in The Old Soft Shoe, obsessively watching this video from 1957 again and again. What's interesting is that some of the movie's most iconic scenes are Arthur discovering his free side to himself in the form of dance. But when I read Todd Phillips and Scott Silver's script, it appears as if the dance is somewhat improvised. The dancing starts in this scene after Arthur is given the gun by Randall, and we see this disturbing look on Joaquin's face before he accidentally fires it. But the script never mentioned any dancing, just that the 1937 version of Shall We Dance is playing on the TV. But Phoenix adds this internal process of Arthur being seduced into this other side of himself, and then improvises these lines.
Hey Arthur, you're a really good dancer. I know.
Which shows us that Arthur craves external
Love that
validation
scene.
from literally anyone. These are essential building blocks to the character that pay off once Arthur begins to get attention. After he kills the Wall Street bankers, the famous bathroom dance is also pretty minimally referenced in the script. Now, of course, director Todd Phillips had influence here too, but given each page of a script roughly translates to 1 minute of screen time, it seems Phoenix turned these throwaway lines into something much more significant, as the actual dancing lasts for 1 minute and 18 seconds. Notice how this freestyle dancing is also very different to how Arthur performatively dances as a clown. One is used to pretend not to be miserable, and the other is used to seek actual joy. The next key is laughing versus crying. Joker takes the phrase, "I didn't know whether to laugh or cry," to a whole new level, as laughter is used as a way for Arthur to cover up his despair. It's usually when Arthur is challenged or conflicted that the laughter inappropriately explodes out of him. But Phoenix plays the laughter as a source of pain, an involuntary choking reflex, like Gollum. Director Todd Phillips showed Joaquin videos of people who suffer from what's known as the pseudo-bulbar effect, a real disorder characterized by episodes of sudden, uncontrollable, and inappropriate laughing or crying. The first scene Phoenix shows us this disorder is in the social worker's office. We're introduced to the sound of laughing, but if you play the scene silently, he looks like he's crying. This creates a jarring feeling for the audience. We're receiving contradictory pieces of information, hearing joy, but seeing misery. We don't know how to feel, so we just watch in discomfort. The script introduces Arthur with "Close on Arthur, 30s, tears in his eyes from laughing so hard. He's trying to get it under control, his greasy black hair hanging down over his forehead." Then later in the same scene, it describes, "Despite the laughter, there's real pain in his eyes, something broken in him. Looks like he hasn't slept in days." But Phoenix brings far more to the table. He shows us a harrowing internal battle between laughing and crying through these quick little ticks on his face. Once one laugh stops, we can see the lips fighting the urge, trying to restrain another laugh. Meanwhile, if we just focus on his eyes, they seem at peace. Then they sort of smile along with the laughter, but then once a laugh sneaks out, they're replaced with sadness, as if he's depressed that he can't control himself. And then he lets out another huge laugh, this time looking trapped in agony throughout. Phoenix masters this consistent look of pain throughout each scene. It's an unrelenting internal tug of war. Even when things are going well, there's something eating away at him. So again, by showing the audience a wide emotional range in each scene, one side tormented, the other relieved, the audience will instinctively hope for the better side to win. So we want him to be free, not weighed down, and laughing instead of crying. And that brings us to the final key: childish innocence versus deranged anger. Phoenix portrays Arthur Fleck as a naive and innocent child. Despite being in his mid to late 30s,
Bye-bye,
he doesn't
friend.
talk or act like an adult. There's initially a harmlessness to Arthur. He performs for kids, curls up in bed next to his mother to watch TV, and even in his fantasies, he's just dreaming of being rewarded and appreciated for who he is, not dreaming of being someone else. Phoenix authentically sells us this tender, good-natured side to Arthur, a sense of genuine wonder and innocence in his eyes, just wanting a father figure, someone to support him. This is essential to keeping the audience on his side when the deranged anger starts to seep out. Arthur's anger is usually justified, but Phoenix shows us that the rage hits on a deeper level for someone that's already so emotionally imbalanced, by never blinking. This wide-eyed, unbroken trance shows us that there's a monster bubbling underneath. The longer the eyes stay open, the closer and closer the monster comes to the surface. When Arthur's hero, Murray Franklin, makes fun of him on TV, Phoenix subtly shows us Arthur's heart breaking. Think of how a different actor might have played this: furrowed brows, shaking heads, maybe even throwing something in the room. But Phoenix plays it differently. He doesn't blink, he doesn't say anything, but his jaw and lip just very subtly tremble. So on the top half of his face, we see deranged anger forming through his stare, and on the bottom half, we see heartache processing. For a character so defined by his facial tics and involuntary laughter, the stillness and silence feels especially jarring, as if both sides that battle within him cease fire and come to an agreement. They're now on the same team against Murray. These long stares consistently precede Arthur taking physical action. He explodes with an uncontrollable wild violence, like some sort of hyena. So much adrenaline pumping that notice how Phoenix's whole body is physically vibrating, and he needs time to recover. But after the first outburst, even in the midst of spiraling rage, Phoenix improvises this little fall before he curls up on the floor and cradles himself. This again shows us the contrast between innocent child and deranged lunatic. The performance is constantly walking this tightrope between victim and villain. Once you start to see too much of one side, you get a subtle reminder of the other. But it's the little details that are so impressive here. Even though Arthur suffers from involuntary laughter, notice how when it comes to Randall, a rude colleague he secretly loathes, he responds to his joke with a high-pitched fake laugh. Phoenix establishes it's fake by stopping the laughter immediately once he's out of sight, showing he's in control of it. Then later, when Randall and Gary visit him at home, in response to his cruel joke, he releases another fake laugh, before violently lashing out. So now we subconsciously associate this high-pitched squeal of a laugh with preceding violence. When's the next time it resurfaces? On stage, right after Murray mocks him.
And how's that going for you?
Let's go.
Followed by this detached little glance to Murray, eyeing his prey. All of these are subtle cues to the audience that something is wrong and danger is impending. Now for this final moment, let's look at how Phoenix builds on what's written in the script to enhance the scene's crescendo. The script simply reads, "You're awful, Murray." There's no more laughter. The audience is watching this exchange with full attention. Murray responds, "Me? How am I awful? Playing my video, inviting me on the show. You just wanted to make fun of me. You're just like the rest of them, Murray. Everything comes too easy for you." But Phoenix takes his time with each line, and by doing so, gives himself the opportunity to offer us up a whole host of different emotions. Check this out.
Playing my video. Inviting me on the show. You just wanted to make fun of me.
Notice first the trembling mouth. We can see the rage roaring inside of him, barely able to contain itself. But it's also hurt. His heart is breaking all over again from Murray's betrayal. But it's also in his nose. His breathing is so enraged that he's purring like a cat. Meanwhile, his eyes are staring deep into De Niro's, squinting as he reveals he knows Murray's underhanded intentions. Is he angry? Yes, but he's also wounded. Because notice how there's these little teardrops forming in his eyes before he takes action. So we have rage blasting out his nose and pain leaking out of his eyes, while his mouth battles between both conflicting emotions. Phoenix is still offering us vulnerability in a murder scene. And it makes sense. This is a huge moment for the character, confronting the man who he once saw as a father figure, who he now sees as everything wrong with the world. What's interesting about Joker is that it's structured like a coming-of-age movie. An innocent boy, through finding a love interest, pursuing his dreams, and stopping living with his mother, turns into a man. But rather than it being a hopeful story of letting go of your fears to make your life better, each step is darker, more isolating, and morally corrupting. The truths he learns about the world aren't constructive, but the character still perceives the destruction around him as progress because of how miserable he was before. This is what was so controversial about the movie, that it makes violence and chaos seem like a goal in itself, because for Arthur, it still symbolized personal growth and liberation. Writer-director Todd Phillips deserves a huge amount of credit for pulling off this movie, but who else could deliver a performance like this? With virtually any other actor, you can easily imagine this movie falling apart. It's the little nuances Joaquin Phoenix brings to the table that make both the character sympathetic and the performance credible. He could have just played it as a struggling man who suffers from involuntary laughter, but by bringing such a wide range of competing emotions into each scene, the viewer is swinging so hard from one extreme to the other that they don't know what to feel. They just know they've laid witness to something they never anticipated, and now won't ever forget.
Joaquin really was fucking good as Joker.
If you enjoy content like
Such
this
a
and
good
want to see
fucking
more of it,
movie.
please do consider supporting me on Patreon, as it really does make a difference to how much content I can pump out. Or if you can't afford that, then simply like the video, subscribe, and leave a comment down below to help the algorithm do its thing.
Cunt. Bitch.
Killed the Wall Street guy.
Okay, I'm waiting for the punchline.
There's no punchline. It's not a joke.
You're serious, aren't you? You're telling us you killed those 3 young men on the subway?
Mm-hmm.
And why should we believe you?
You got nothing left to lose. Nothing can hurt me.
There we go.
My life is nothing but a
A
comedy.
comedy.
Well, let me get this straight. You think that killing those guys is funny?
I do. And I'm tired of pretending it's not. Comedy is subjective, Murray. Isn't that what they say? All of you, the system that knows so much, you decide
Stinky,
what's right
dude.
or wrong. The same way that you decide what's funny or not.
Okay, I think I might understand that you did this to start a movement, to become a symbol.
Come on, Murray. Do I look like the kind of clown that could start a movement? I killed those guys because they were awful. Everybody is awful these days. It's enough to make anyone crazy.
Okay, so that's it. You're crazy. That's your defense for killing 3 young men?
No. They couldn't carry a tune to save their lives. Oh, why is everybody so upset about these guys? If it was me dying on the sidewalk, you'd walk right over me. I pass you every day and you don't notice me, but these guys, what, because Thomas Wayne cried about them on TV?
You have a problem with Thomas Wayne?
Yes, I do. Have you seen what it's like out there, Murray? Do you ever actually leave the studio? Everybody just yells and screams at each other. Nobody's civil anymore. Nobody thinks what it's like to be the other guy. You think men like Thomas Wayne ever think what it's like to be someone like me? To be somebody but themselves? They don't. They think that we'll just sit there and take it like good little boys, that we won't werewolf and go wild.
You finished? I mean, there's so much self-pity, Arthur. You sound like you're making excuses for killing those young men. Not everybody, and I'll tell you this, not everyone is awful.
You're awful.
Me? I'm awful? Oh yeah, how am I awful?
Security recording retrieved.
Playing my video.
Isaac?
Inviting me on the show.
It's Liz Cross.
You just wanted to make fun of me. Just like the rest of them.
You don't know the first thing about me, pal. Look what happened because of what you did, what it led to. There were riots out there. 2 policemen are in critical condition.
Look at his little face. I love that.
Someone was killed today because of what you did.
I know. How about another joke, Ray?
I think we've had enough of your jokes.
What do you get?
I don't think.
When you cross a mentally ill loner with a society that abandons him and treats him like trash, I'll tell you what you get. You get what you fucking deserve. Based. Such a fucking funny scene. What a joke. He really is the Joker. Alright, we need to get all the loot before we leave. That's just how it be. Ooh!
Good night.
Flamethrower upgrade, very cool.
Breaking news. Popular TV talk show host Murray Franklin
shot dead tonight on the live telecast of the program by one of the kids.
By Franklin as Joker,
Looking new.
Arthur, does it help to have someone to talk to?
This trailer goes so fucking hard.
My mother
always told me to smile and have a happy face. She told me I had a purpose. To bring laughter and joy to the world.
Is it just me?
I watched this so many fucking times back in the day.
Or is it getting crazier out there?
This might be the most trailer ever.
Even though it's breaking.
When there are clouds in the sky, you'll get by.
If you smile, to your fear and sorrow, smile.
Where the fuck am I going?
What's so funny? Freak?
Gotham has lost its way. What kind of coward would do something that cold-blooded? Someone who hides behind a mask.
True.
I used to think that my life was a tragedy. But now I realize it's a comedy.
It's a comedy. This shot here in the trailer was not used. With him and the flowers, they cut that from the movie. That was him going to give flowers to Sophie and be like, "Hey, watch me on Murray Franklin."
Around 2 years ago on Letterboxd, I jokingly reviewed Joker 2, saying that this movie will be terrible. I said this jokingly, but in my heart of hearts, I felt something in the tea leaves. And look at how right I was. Wow. These days, I don't really like bashing something outright. I like giving
Where fucking where?
From my point of view. I mean, who am I really except some chubby white dude who's loud? But I like to think that my heart's in the right place for art and how it can help this world and the people that are in it. I love viewing all angles, seeing why something was made and for who. But then you have movies like this that just... Jesus Christ! Joker Folie à Deux is the most boring movie I've seen all year. I mean, just what the heck happened?
Where?
How can you make a movie so embarrassingly
Fucking
pointless?
where,
Look,
dude?
I'm someone who
Oh.
did not care for the first movie at all. I found it shallow with a pretty coding. I found Joaquin Phoenix's performance great with music that was fascinating, but everything else just actively annoyed me. Putting together this artificial story of society, bullcrap, and really thin viewpoints on mental illness that just didn't go anywhere. It also harbored a fan base that was just the most disgusting group of specimens ever. Guys who haven't watched a single non-franchise movie in their entire lives, who haven't built on some tiny pedestal to obsess over it to mean something more than it does. I'm sorry, I just really don't care for the first movie, and I think a majority of the people that like it are really nasty to the people that don't like it. But at the end of the day, there's a
This guy sounds like a fucking
about
idiot.
the first movie. All of my
It's not that deep, dude.
and harbors is something to talk about, because while I may call it cringe and shallow, that is something to take away. That is an opinion that I have about it, something to remember, something to think about and talk about with other people who may or may not like the movie themselves. You can walk away from the first movie saying that it's deep and connected with you, or you hated it and thought it was dumb and ripped stuff off. You can do all of that, but with Joker 2, Folie à Deux,
I don't like
there's
the way
nothing.
this guy
There's
talks.
less than nothing. It's an empty movie, a 2-hour and 30-minute movie where you're waiting for it to begin. You're waiting for a movie to start being a movie, and it just never ever starts. I just absolutely despise this movie for somehow letting a hardcore Joker fan like me down. I mean, God, I was just pissed off by how bored I was. I had to go into the bathroom halfway through so I could take a breather and wash my face so I didn't fall asleep. I mean, I can't tell you how actively slow this movie is. I mean, I love long movies. I adore them, especially when there's a point. Killers of the Flower Moon clocks in at 3 hours and 26 minutes, and I sat there locked in. I was engrossed with how the story is told by a masterful director. A month ago, I saw the 4K restoration of Seven Samurai, 3 hours and 23 minutes, and I had the time of my life. Joker 2 at 2 hours.
I bet you talk like an adult.
Longer than both of those combined. It was the longest
Jesus
2 hours
Christ.
of my life. I felt like time froze, like I would be stuck there forever, like I'm being subjugated to torture by some cruel god. I'm gonna start sprinkling some
Holy
spoilers
fuck,
here and there, so
man.
if you care or don't, here's your warning. There's nothing really to like even spoil.
I regret adding this to my
whatever.
queue.
Let me
This is
start by mentioning some
terrible.
tiny positives, though. Some things that were a semblance
This
of
guy
interesting.
is
I liked the
a
original Joker song
silly
midway through
Billy
the movie. I thought it was
to
a fun
the
sequence, and the
greatest
song was
degree.
not that bad. I also really liked what this movie tries to represent. Almost rejecting the
Tries.
idea of
Shut the
hardcore
fuck up.
fan base that loves the first movie, killing the very idea of the Joker and who loves him by, you know, killing him at the end. Whoa. But that positive that is almost really cool to me is so
Dude,
underbaked.
like,
It
is this
blurry,
like
but they're
autism? Is this bipolar? Like, what is
cover
this?
songs that are just not good and pissed me off. This
Anyone
is
out
Fox
there
musical, as the kids
is
say. They
watching,
put some
please
jazzy
tell
spins
me,
on
'cause
some
I
songs
wanna
or
know.
whatever. And like so many people were rated out first by the words musical when this movie was announced. Oh my god, you're making it a musical? Good heavens, what are they thinking? Man, I wish it was actually a musical. I wish it leaned into that element to either bring great energy into it or
an
somehow
additional
be so
power
bad
mode.
that it's great. I wish they covered less popular songs or more popular
Very
songs.
cool. What does this
Instead, it
thing do?
stagnates right in the middle. It becomes a musical that does not want to be a musical, but at the most awkward part will start a cover song and do it in the most boring way. Hey, Todd Phillips, by the way, I don't know if you know this, but film is a visual medium. Todd Phillips, man, this guy is such a hack. He's such a hack. He fooled the world to get $1 billion with this superficial, pretty coding Joker movie. And guess what, buddy? No one's falling for it twice. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, I'll kill myself. Neither critics nor fans are liking this movie.
guy isn't
This movie
funny.
hates its fans, but hates the people that hated the first movie. So it follows the titular Joker, or should I say?
I don't know if it's really that deep, honestly. Like, I get why people say that, but I saw the movie and
That's interesting framing.
I really didn't get that he hates us. I think people just are taking it a little bit too seriously.
If you have genuinely even an ounce above third grade reading level and understood what Joker was really trying to say or what even happened in the movie, then this movie just repeats everything that you took away for 2 hours. It is
Not really.
so bland, so extremely dull. It is the most bizarre thing to follow a movie that made $1 billion by just doing the same thing again, but less. The movie tries to dig deeper into the split personality of Arthur and the Joker, opening with an animated intro of a shadowy figure battling with Joker/Arthur person. Throughout the movie, you have people being like, who am I talking to? Arthur or the Joker? You have so many people who keep saying that, but this split personality theme fizzles out so quickly. This dissection of what Joker is just embarrassingly lame, and there's only like one really quick scene where they tried to even attempt it.
I do think this movie, Joker 2, it could probably use like a director's cut down the line.
Deconstruct the elements of that type of fight back, making the Joker persona just so stupid and lame, as it really is. In theory, that sounds awesome, at least to me. But once you pick up on that theme, the entire crux of what it's trying to say, that's it. You can go home, leave, and go watch something better that's in the theaters right now. The courtroom drama framing is
Oh, look
wasted.
at this
I don't know
edgy
if this movie
fuck.
has any hardcore defenders, like actually I don't think it does, but I can already predict what people are trying to say. Like, just can't handle a courtroom drama. You're not mature enough. Bro, Anatomy of the Fall came out last year, and that was a masterpiece.
Improve this guy.
That was a masterpiece. So you want a good courtroom drama, go watch that. You also
Yeah.
sometimes see Arthur go live out a prison sentence where guards bullying him, and it's just, it's snore. It's boring. It's boring. They don't fill the air or energy with anything. They just go through each scene so mind-numbingly long.
Alright, it's Hunter time.
Do something. Just do something. Do something, please. By the time anything happens in the last third of the
Can't
movie,
fucking
you're so
wait
checked
to
out
deal
that
with the
you just
Hunter
want to
again.
end. It just feels like a movie wasted itself. Its story, its metaphors, its music, all the budget, everything just wasted. Even Lady Gaga was wasted. I know
Error.
God, she was in this movie. I have to be honest. She is barely in this thing. And when she is in it, she's in the back of the room just looking out amongst the crowd. It's like playing Where's Waldo? But where's Gaga? Where is she? A generational talent, queen. Here, they just use her so sparingly. That I felt like I was
Very
getting
true.
rushed
She
into
needed to be in the movie more.
Let me
Like,
have some more,
at
please.
least 20 more minutes.
She plays Joker's better half, Harley Quinn. But here, it's just Lee Quinn. what a twist. Oh, wow. She kind of uses Joker in her own ways.
I would honestly go so far as to say she was probably one of the best parts of the movie, and it was a shame that she wasn't in it more. I think her and, I forget his name, the character, but Brendan Gleeson's security guard character, I really liked them.
On the planet to make you a bowl of fruity pebbles. Your talent's wasted and you're just not being used. And like I said earlier, this is all thanks to one man, Todd Phillips, the sole creative behind this project.
Oh my god, you just scratched me, you piece of shit. Get off.
By ripping off a Scorsese movie and putting it under
He's schizo right now.
He fooled executives and general audiences that he can actually be capable.
My cat, he's
Now
schizo.
here we are, stuck with this. But you know, as someone who's actually a hardcore defender of Joker 2, I found a single man who's riding for this movie more than anyone else, and his name is Connor Eats Pants.
Okay, hello, 24 frames of Nick video. This is Connor Eats Pants recording on his iPhone. Okay, the movie is pretty objectively probably let's be real. Pretty weird, but disjointed. Musical scenes could have been better. You know, there were some problems. Let's not pretend there wasn't. But what if it's like secretly genius though? Like I thought the first Joker sucked. The movie sucks. This movie just makes fun of the first Joker. And it's like, yeah, it sucks. It's like it's stupid, and it makes fun of people that like it. And I think that's kind of awesome.
I don't think it really does.
And like it ends right.
Because I think most people that like it are normal, level-headed people. And they're acting as if
Why are we ever taking the Batman Joker
like they're doing a
seriously?
blanket statement, like, if you like Joker, you're like an incel.
Joker at the end,
Like, nah, dude.
That's funny to me. I think it might secretly be genius, honestly. I think it might be high art, and we're just not giving it the credit it deserves.
Alright, so I have to
Look,
go
maybe
all
Connor's
the way
right.
back.
Maybe Todd Phillips is a secret genius. Maybe he's just a dumb, lucky jerk. Who really knows? But at the end of the day,
No,
this
Todd
movie
does
was
know
just
what he's
boring. If
doing.
you want a good movie to watch this week with your hard-earned time and money, go watch The Substance. Or even more recent, go watch A Different Man. Those are two incredible movies, both teetering with themes of separate personalities. Just like this awful, awful, awful movie. Anyways, here's my Letterboxd score. And as always, thanks for
Awful. Dude, that video sucked. That guy has like some serious fucking autism or some shit. Oh my god. I don't normally think that too. Like, this is not a common opinion I have, but that guy like needs to grow the fuck up.
Higher than an elite athlete. Each dog is incredibly unique. Feed your dog's unique needs with Royal Canin Precise Nutrition.
What's in here? Is there gonna be a spooky jump scare? Yeah, there is. Scary. I pooped myself.
2024, thanks to the massive success of the 2019 film. But even with Joaquin Phoenix returning in the clown makeup and with Todd Phillips sitting on the director's chair again, the hype-worthy sequel failed to make a mark. The film is not only struggling to earn a profit at the box office, but also earning negative reviews from several critics and publications. While the first Joker was also divisive in its own right, it at least didn't face a Rotten Tomatoes score of 33%. Today at Screen Rant, we dig deeper into all the major criticisms that the new Joker movie has been getting.
The whole time I was watching, I kept thinking, I hope this guy blows his brains out.
Even before Joker Folie à Deux opened in cinemas, the backlash against it was mostly negative because of its musical elements. While the first Joker was a gritty psychological drama, Todd Phillips opted to direct the sequel as a jukebox musical. While Joker Folie à Deux also doubles as a courtroom drama, its musical elements can't be denied. But even after watching the film in its Technicolor musical brilliance, some critics were unimpressed with this experiment. The songs and musical performances aren't outrightly bad. After all, Lady Gaga is bound to shine as Lee, considering she's a gifted singer. Even Joaquin Phoenix has shown his singing talents before when he played Johnny Cash in Walk the Line. But despite the lead actor's musical chops and the stylish imagery, the musical elements didn't resonate with anybody. Most of these scenes play out as imaginary performances.
I disagree. I liked the music.
Much to the actual storyline of the film. As a result, the musical scenes tend to be distracting the viewer from the main narrative of Arthur.
I would say 30%, as I've said before, of the music was kind of unnecessary. Or a little bit too long. Wow, these fuckers just will not die.
Using moral messages, but still it felt like a standalone story with Arthur's open-ended fate in Arkham, making for a haunting ending. In that case, Joker Folie à Deux is an interesting look into Arthur's trials and takes a jab at the toxic fans of mentally troubled criminals like the Joker. Despite its vision to do something new, Todd Phillips' film suffers from pacing issues and tonal inconsistencies. Even if we don't talk about the musical parts, the 2 hours and 18-minute runtime is tiring and overbearing. This is the reason why critics felt that Joker Folie à Deux's demerits
I wasn't bored. The only thing that made it tiring is I really had to piss when I was watching it. But other than that, no, I quite enjoyed it.
Franklin
Alright, I
showing
fucking hate this
Joker
part.
Folia 2 is emotional with its mellowed down Arthur Fleck,
This is
but
one
narratively
area
there's
that I
not
would be
anything new to
really
offer
worried
this
about
fully
in
broken character.
Impossible
Despite
mode.
Joker Folia 2 clocking in at more than 2 hours, the film suffers from a lack of any new twists. Granted, the courtroom explosion and the ensuing chaos add some momentum to the slow-moving plot, but by that third act, it's too late. Despite the film boasting numerous musical numbers, these songs hardly do anything to add to the plot. This is rather unfortunate considering how eventful the first movie was. Be it Arthur imagining his own delusional scenarios to make him encountering characters like Thomas Wayne and pre-Batman Bruce Wayne, every decision made by Arthur has had a payoff in the first
So you
film.
have to
In the
use
sequel,
stasis, I
there seems
guess?
to be potential when Arthur first crosses
It's
paths
lame.
with Lee, but since then the film undergoes the same routine of the lead characters
Give me
puffing
some
on
oxygen.
cigarette smoke and singing song after song in their colorful dreams. None of the musical numbers also have any allusions to Arthur or Lee's backstories whatsoever. In between are some court testimonies, but even these tend to get repetitive, with older characters like Zazie Beetz' Sophie Dumont and Lee Gillis' Gary Puddles returning. Joker Folia 2 revisits familiar events from
Yeah, I
the
kind of
film,
felt like there
adding
was no
nothing new to
point
the
for
largely straightforward plot.
Sophie
While
to
the
come
scenes
back
with
in the
Sophie
movie,
and Gary are
Zazie Beetz'
arguably
character.
powerful, they also relied too much on exposition. The screenplay co-written
I feel
by Todd
like
Phillips and Scott Silver
what they
doesn't
should
do
have
much to
done
save
is
Joker
like
Folia
when the
2
bomb
from
goes
standing
off,
out.
she should have
Anger-filled
died,
courtroom rants can almost
or
come off
something
as
like that.
melodramatic and over the top.
Like I think maybe if like the Joker supporters like fucked with her and like maybe hurt her or did something awful to her, maybe that would kind of justify Arthur wanting to renounce Joker a little bit more. I don't know. It's just my thought.
Joker Folia 2 as a genre mismatch that can't excel in any of the genres it's trying to take on. As a musical, it falls flat with repetitive songs and underwhelming dance routines. As the courtroom drama, it doesn't have enough legal twist to raise
Underwhelming dancing themes? No, the dancing was quite good, actually.
So while it's commendable for Todd Phillips to try
That's
to
just a blatant fucking lie.
incoherent multi-genre venture that struggles to find its core audiences. While Joaquin Phoenix had already proved his mettle as Joker, Lady Gaga generated a lot of
Land
hype for the
much,
sequel with this
please?
singer and actress putting her own spin on Harley Quinn.
I guess
And
I have
while this
to
version
go
of the
down here.
classic DC anti-hero is interpreted in original ways, some critics complain
I
that
can't
Lady
believe
Gaga's
this game is
doesn't have
only
enough screen time.
32
While her
fucking
character seems intriguing with a tragic
gigabytes,
personal
whatever it
history of her own,
was.
she's still reduced to a
Like, it
supporting
looks
figure
so
who pops up
goddamn
as
good.
her singing partner and passionate lover. There's a lot more that can be done with Gaga's character.
I've seen games that are 100 gigabytes that the graphics and everything don't look this good.
Gaga and Phoenix. Instead, all we get is a passionate affair that ends abruptly once Arthur
Jump
confesses
scare?
to his crimes and denies being the Joker. Lee falling for the Joker and not Arthur is an interestingly complex theme that could have been handled better with a more fleshed out love story.
Yeah, here we go.
Screen Rant's review by
No, not.
Harrison, her role is prominent and involves plenty of singing, but she's firmly a supporting
More
figure.
games need to have realistic gore like this.
Done with her. Despite the overwhelmingly negative reviews, Joker Folia 2 isn't an outrightly bad movie. Both Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga's lead performances are drawing raves from even the critics who wrote a negative review. Despite the flaws of the
Here we
original
go.
scenes, the production design and color palette drew praise. Much like the first one, Todd Phillips' sequel manages to establish a contrast between the grim, gritty reality of Gotham City and the multicolored energy of Arthur's imaginary scenario. Oscar-winning composer Hildur Guðnadóttir's score also earned its fair share of positive reviews, as she returned with her hauntingly beautiful
Ouch.
music. Some critics
Cunt.
also praised how the sequel was more experimental and original than the first Joker.
Felt so
Despite
good.
these occasional positive reviews, Joker Folia 2 has undeniably succumbed to negative reviews that have also affected its commercial prospects. While the first Joker was a blockbuster from its very first week, Joker Folia 2 struggled to make only $40 million domestically in its opening weekend. With a
Oh my
budget
god, so I have to go
of
here a
$100
third
director
fucking
Todd
time.
Phillips took a major gamble by turning his
Forgot about
well-made
this.
drama into a musical legal drama. As the negative reviews suggest, Joker Folia 2 is far from the perfect sequel, but it still has its redeeming elements like the stylish production design and the emotional lead performances. Did you like the film, or did you prefer the original? Thanks for watching Screen Rant.
I mean, I think everyone prefers the original. It's just a given. Why won't this guy die? Jesus Christ. When you cross a mentally ill stoner, alright, now we fight the hunter. Right. Yeah, here we go. Let me guess he's gonna enter through there. Yup. Bye-bye. Loser.
The 2019 movie Joker garnered both acclaim and concerns from a wide range of viewers and critics. Based on the aggregate ratings of critic scores, the movie sure seems controversial. However, ratings of the viewers do, almost unambiguously, imply that the Joker is a cinematic masterpiece. Either way, there's no denying that the impact the movie makes about mental health and societal dysfunction would be huge or everlasting.
This really does say a lot about society.
The nature of many mental illnesses in a dark world, and its representation thereof is nothing short of great in my book. However, I've also noticed something that Joaquin Phoenix's Joker embodies so well. It's something that lies on the thin line dividing norm and deviance. For me, the final iteration of the Joker's personality does not only represent mental illness, but also a very sinister side of the unfettered human psyche. I suppose this can be well explained with reference to the basics of the psyche model introduced by the world-renowned psychologist Sigmund Freud.
Little bitch. Oh, fuck you.
But
Fuck you.
Further, I would like to ask you to subscribe to Growth Journey, The Journey of Life. The Journey of Life.
You serious?
Id, ego, and superego are three distinct agents which make up the psyche of an individual. These agents were first defined by the renowned psychologist Sigmund Freud.
Alright, I've got
Freud,
shit I can
the thought flow
sell.
of an individual is a result of the interaction between these three agents. Consciousness is initiated by id, which comprises of base instincts of the human condition. The ego bridges the stream of consciousness created by id with the superego, which is the critical faculty which evaluates and reforms a thought process through rationalization and moralization. These three agents are purely psychological concepts and do not correspond to actual physiological features of the brain. The id is said to be the most base part of the human psyche. It encompasses raw emotions, impulses, and instincts of the human condition. Instinctual drives such as lust and aggression are formed in the id. The id exists in a person often in the same state since birth. The ego is a more higher level component of the concept of the human psyche. It reconciles the conscious arising from id with the conditions outlined by the superego. It actively does reasoning and engages in other rational processes to reform a person's raw conscious based on the requirements of the superego. The superego is the topmost level component of the human psyche in Freudian psychology. It sets moral, rational, and other standards to which an ego should adjust a particular consciousness to. As opined by Freud, the superego is often a byproduct of the social or cultural conditioning of an individual. It is the embodiment of the internalization of cultural norms in an individual.
Wait, what?
It is evident that an average human with a sound mental health is able to act on his thoughts in a more civil and restrained manner. This could be argued as an example of the three psychic agents functioning well. The movie begins with Arthur Fleck, despite his mental illnesses caused by previous trauma, doing his best to fit his demeanor to prevalent social norms in the environment, which is Gotham City, that he lives in. He was, at most times, an average city dweller as far as norms and beliefs of the people of Gotham were concerned. He had gone through episodes of rage and sadness due to various injustices, mishaps, and failures that he has encountered, but manages to cope them without venting his reactions, causing harm to others. This would imply that the agent's ego and superego were functioning on high gear to suppress the id from materializing its outburst of insanity. Arthur was considerate of what people in Gotham thought. He was narcissistic, as he was constantly trying to look normal in order to be more accepted by people. In his notebook, he writes that society expects people having mental illnesses to pretend that they do not have them, and thereafter proceeds to conceal symptoms of his illnesses and pursue a career as a comedian. Arthur's psyche had a semblance of a workable interaction between the Freudian psychic agents. His ego was able to transform the instinctively driven, impulsive consciousness, which arose from id, into a more rational and moral one, based on the demands of the superego. This was possible arguably due to his ego defense mechanisms working on high gear.
Fuck off, cunt.
According
Fuck
to Freudian
off.
psychology, an individual utilizes defense mechanisms to prevent an individual being overwhelmed by id and superego or feelings such as guilt and anxiety. The subject of ego defense mechanisms have been expanded ever since it was first introduced by Sigmund Freud, and now it elaborates many types of defenses.
Clearance confirmed.
As the story progresses, Arthur's ability to suppress his mental illnesses begins to recede. This causes him to act abruptly, purely involuntarily at some times. His impulsive nature begins to show. He vents the frustrations that arise from bullying, shaming, harassment, and finally, his mental illnesses, actively rather than passively, as shown earlier in the movie. This is a sign of the deterioration of the superego, as well as the ego's lose of restraint over id. As Arthur begins to lose faith in humanity, he loses interest in everything that makes a society or a community from spiraling into anarchy and chaos. This includes the moral
Very nice.
fabric,
Chapter 7
regardless of the
done.
state, of the community that he lives in, and the respect for authority and the status quo. The ego's failure to reconcile id and the superego becomes more apparent as Arthur becomes more indifferent towards everything that was once supposed to mean something to him. This includes his job as a
engineering.
comedian,
Okay,
his
we're
worries
already
over how people
here,
perceive
so
him,
we
and
might
even
as
the current
well
political crisis that is growing in the city.
get this thing.
It's arguable that the climactic phase of the development of the character, Joker, begins with the shocking truth Arthur discovers after reading about his mother's clinical records. In an episode of unchecked rage, fueled by an overwhelming feeling of betrayal, Arthur destroys the only person he lived for, and the only person who had genuinely cared about him. Embracing nihilism and shedding almost every sense of morality and common good, Arthur begins to tread on a dark pathway of humanity. His reigns over his demons have vanquished. The moment in which he proceeds to shoot a TV talk show host in front of many people can be regarded as the culmination of the id's unfettered manifestation in his psyche. All the basest of instinctual drives of the human condition operate unchecked and unadulterated within his mind. The entire content of this video represents one of my observations on explaining a man spiraling into insanity using a renowned model in psychology. I should disclaim that I am no professional in this field. My knowledge on the matter is elementary. I'm just an individual who chooses to learn about this subject. The bulk of the content
What's all that noise?
is about explaining the changes in the psyche of Arthur, which finally transforms him into the Joker. There are many other content in this movie which serve as an incisive commentary on mental health and how the activities of various segments in society have a profound impact on it. My observation is that the primary focus of the subtext of this movie is not hating society for being indifferent or brutal. It's about realizing how subtly mental illnesses manifest in a person's psyche. As for many things in life, I have no coherent answer to this. However, I believe the world is certainly doing better than before to tackle the issue of mental illness profoundly. I could only hope that, for the betterment of mankind, mental health issues are dealt with more compassionately, such that individuals of the life of Arthur Fleck would do well in life. Hey everyone, if you're enjoying the content, don't forget to hit that like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps me keep creating more videos, and it means the world to me. Thanks for being part of the journey.
Race together, build together with Lego McLaren playsets.
Hey, welcome back to Screen Crush. I'm Ryan Airy, and this is all the Easter eggs, references, and little things you might have missed in the first trailer for Joker 2, Fully Adieu. So we begin with Arthur in a cell. Get it? And so it looks like he's in a box here as he steps out. So seeing Arthur in a box works on a few levels. It shows that Arthur is physically inside this box, a cell in Arkham Asylum, but this is also symbolizing how he feels inside. He feels boxed in emotionally because he has no one he can connect to. Now the guard asks him if he has a joke. So this might be setting us up for all of this movie. This whole story is going to end up being just one big joke on him. Now the title of the movie, Fully Adieu, means a delusion shared between two people, which in this case means the Joker and Harley Quinn. But it also means the two of them are sharing this delusion with the world, like Arthur did in the first movie. The first movie shows Arthur's descent into insanity until that descent is broadcast on television and then spread to the entirety of Gotham City. Now the song playing here is What the World Needs Now by Jackie DeShannon, made famous by Burt Bacharach. So the song is implying that Harley and Joker loving each other is what the world needs right now, how their love can heal the world. Now in this case, it might literally mean that love can heal Arthur's mind, since really in the first film, all he wanted was a human connection. He wanted to be seen and he wanted to be loved. But you have to remember that in these movies, Arthur's mind essentially is the world. And what I mean by that is okay, so you're right. Let me back up for a second to explain the first Joker. The 2019 Joker film was the first of its kind. Coming just 1 year after the release of 2018's Venom, this film too gave an iconic hero's most iconic villain the spotlight. Now the movie understandably had its doubters. I mean, a movie led by the psychotic clown Prince of Crime without Batman, it was almost as crazy as doing all these Spider-Man movies without Spider-Man. But here's the twist, this actually works so well. Joker was nominated for 11 Academy Awards.
No one really in chat tonight. Too bad. I like bouncing ideas off them.
Joker redefined what a comic book movie could be. The important social commentary regarding the mental health awareness and the effects of poverty and the lack of health care, all of that took center stage. The film walked the line of not excusing the actions of a madman, but instead showing how a monster can be created by societal neglect. They were very careful to not turn the Joker into an anti-hero. He may be the lead of the film, but he's still very much a villain.
Police, get what you deserve!
This film showed us that comic book films don't have to have big climactic CG battles or even have to have a good guy. This film reminded us that a comic book movie can take on any genre and follow any type of character, whether it's a political thriller, a horror film, a raunchy comedy, a period piece, or even a psychological fever dream like Joker. And Joker is doing this yet again by bringing the musical genre to the comic book world. Joker Fall Adieu is the first comic book movie musical. The first Joker film kept us guessing as to what was real and what was taking place in Arthur's head. Well, what better way to dial that to 11 than by bringing the inner monologues back in song. Musical numbers are a fun and creative way to convey the story at hand and briefly suspend reality. And they'll be a great way to showcase the shared delusion of these two characters, the Joker and Harley Quinn. Now, another feat this Joker series has accomplished is the proven framework of studios like DC being able to do other films that are disconnected from their cinematic universe and instead exist in their own pocket realities. You know, how movies used to be. And we're starting to see this with Marvel. For instance, the Fantastic Four is going to take place in a different universe with this Art Deco kind of futuristic architecture from the 1960s. And I really hope more comic book films are able to embrace this kind of freedom. Now, people walked away from the first Joker movie wondering what was real and what wasn't. And in this movie, that question is going to extend to the heart. The only thing Harley and Joker know for sure is the way they feel. Part of what makes the first Joker work so much is how relatable Arthur is. We've all had feelings. Guys, like, I used to get so anxious, I would nervously clench my jaw till my gums bled. I've had a lot of bad oral fixation habits like that for years, but now I replace that bad, gross habit with a positive one by using Fume. They're the sponsor of this video. Is that a vape? No, buddy, this is not a vape. It is not electronic and it does not have pods filled with potentially harmful chemicals. Instead, it has these plant-based pores that are infused with natural flavors.
Just go already.
Flavored air. I recently started crisp mint and it freshened my breath. Smells very nice. Thanks. You see, Fume uses plants and behavioral science to help you trade out your negative habit for a positive. It's the perfect way to turn around a bad habit that you're just not happy with. Plus, it has adjustable airflow and is designed with movable parts and magnets for fidgeting, giving your fingers something to do, which for me is very helpful for calming my anxiety. They also just launched the Fume Base. Now, this is a sleek magnetic stand to rest your Fume on, so you never lose track of it. Fume makes switching easy and even fun. They have thousands of 5-star reviews from their more than 150,000 customers who use Fume to change their lives. So head to tryfume.com/ScreenCrush and use the code ScreenCrush to save 10% off when you get the Journey Pack today. The Journey Pack comes with your choice of 3 to 6 unique cores and everything you need to finally be free of your bad habit. That's tryfum.com and use the code ScreenCrush to save an additional 10% off your order today. Now, back to the Joker trailer. So guys, I really love the first Joker movie, but what I'm most excited for in this film is the introduction of Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn. And believe it or not, Harley Quinn did not even exist for the first 52 years of the Joker's existence. She was created by Bruce Timm and Paul Dini for the epic television show Batman the Animated Series. She began as a sidekick to the Joker, but eventually grew into her own. As the Joker's mental and physical abuse took its toll on her, she began a friendship with Poison Ivy, even leaving the Joker for long stretches of time. A huge reinvention of the character came in 2016 Suicide Squad as Margot Robbie's version evolved past the ties and clown makeup. Robbie's Quinn was one of the few DCEU characters to have a real arc throughout that franchise, beginning her time as a thrall to the Joker's will to becoming independent and self-actualized in the Suicide Squad.
Your taste in men is as bad as mine. Tears you apart after a while.
And another definitive version of the character appeared in the HBO Max series that's amazing called Harley Quinn, when she finally leaves the Joker for good to create a life with Poison Ivy. But all those iterations have held onto a few truths about the character. She was once the Joker's psychiatrist, and then he cultivated a psychotic dependency in her and turned her insane. And
I think the Lady Gaga version is the only one I like.
He's always trying to make others as insane as he is, to prove that he is actually right and the world makes no sense. In The Killing Joke, he attempted to drive Commissioner Gordon mad. He's always trying to force Batman to kill. In The Dark Knight, he's trying to show that ordinary people would kill a boatload of prisoners just to save their own lives. And of course, the first Joker ends with him spreading mass hysteria through the people of Gotham. So, that's all the background. Now we know what to look at this trailer. Now, we tried to figure out what lyrics they were singing here, but based on like the stanza structure, I'm pretty sure this is again. It could indeed be the main or maybe she does work at the hospital, like she does in the comics and the original series, and this is just some kind of after-hours choir practice that happens to Now, Arthur in this shot is playing in a very interesting way. This makes it look like he was in some sort of confession, like he is emptying his bearing out to God. He lights a cigarette here too. Notice the flames lighting in the fire. And the narration here says,
We use music to make us whole, to balance the fractures.
Now, obviously, saying that we use music to make us whole refers to Arthur and Harley and using one another to make them whole. I think what we're going to see here is two of them connection. They begin to create and make these musical numbers together. In a way, they were incomplete. Now, through their shared delusion and their shared musical numbers, they become complete. So we go from that shot of Arthur lighting fire to him walking through water, this gray, depressing landscape of Arkham Asylum. I love the contrast between fire and water races. And then, while he's in this gray, depressing world, we see that world from another perspective. From the top, this looks beautiful and colorful. Right when the music swells, the lyrics, what the world needs now is love. Now, these bright, beautiful colors are the Joker's hallmark. He's known for wearing bright, garish suits. So what this is showing us is that when you see Arthur's world from below, it looks dreary. But when you look at it from above, you know, the perspective of somebody who's insane, then the whole world is just a big joke to make you laugh. And then we see Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn walking up the same stairs that Arthur drudged up every day at the end of work. Now, this could be a flashback. There's a few scenes in this trailer that we think are flashbacks I'm going to talk about later on. You know, the first movie, though, these steps were symbolic of how Arthur was basically he was like Sisyphus, always trying to push a rock up a hill to live an impossible life. But when Arthur decided to descend down the stairs, his dance symbolizes his descent into madness. And in a way, it showed him letting go of the trappings of society and being free to do whatever he wants. And then we see Harley Quinn miming shooting herself, which of course, as you see, also goes with Arthur in the first movie. This was their first shared connection, and of course, Arthur does it later on. So this is showing that Harley Quinn does have an affinity for violence, just like Arthur does. Now, again, we're seeing all sorts of stuff in this trailer. We don't know if it's real or not. I think it's a hell of a coincidence that this woman he just met does the same exact finger gun, mime suicide, that made him fall in love with Jazzy Beats in the first movie. But you never know. It is a shared delusion. They could both be hallucinating this together. So she says,
I haven't done anything with my life like you have.
Remember, the first Joker movie ended with all of Gotham City's underclass basically idolizing Arthur for looking up to him for committing a horrible, violent act on television. They rioted.
Oh, hello, Annie. I don't know if you're still here, but it's nice to see someone showed up.
Tells him, I wish I could be important like you. And then we go to this theatrical lighting where we see Arthur in the spotlight. So the first
Yes, I'm so brave for going live. Look at me. I deserve a fucking hero's medal. Feeling pretty low energy tonight, just watching videos, basically. Watched this one Joker one that really pissed me off. The guy who was talking just needed to grow the fuck up. Sounded like a man-child.
And notice right here how the piano note hits right when we see his makeup. So this is showing us how him wearing this Joker makeup is how he expresses his inner joy of his life. Being the Joker is what creates music. Then we see the two of them watching the movie, and he says, I think this is a mission statement for the music. The two of them are going to get out of prison one way or another. So then we see them on a rooftop as music swells, there's a full chorus, and they're dancing. Now, there's a very famous Alex Ross speaking of Harley Quinn Joker that was, of course, done in live action for the Suicide Squad. I think this scene is however, the original was
erotic.
an advertisement from the Arrow dress shirt and
Oh, fuck off, you piece of shit.
Fuck
off.
In other words,
I hate these things. I hate them, I hate them, I hate them, I hate them.
In this glorious landscape of Gotham City. We're seeing the city from two different points of view. One, as a glorious metropolis seen from the rooftops, but the real scenery is down below in the muck and rain. And then we
Wants
see
us to
Arthur
go there,
running
so we're gonna go this way.
But here, he's running from people
Wait, is this an elevator?
Now, maybe if this is literal, he's had to deny
Oh, is this the...
gain his freedom.
Hold up, this is like the...
Asylum, and maybe his former followers don't like
Yeah, I remember this area.
Probably what's happening is he's actually running from the vision of himself as the Joker. Maybe this is even something
It's not subtle. Now you can give them what they've always wanted. Real food for dogs. Caesar wholesome bowls and simply crafted.
Yo, Caesar's a bitch. Every time I see that fucking ad with the fucking Caesar dog, I just wanna punt it right in the cunt.
trying to live a good life, but
Fuck
old
Caesar.
life just won't leave him alone. So then we see this
Caesar's a
looks like
bitch.
the Murray Franklin show from the first movie, but now the show belongs to Joker and Harley Quinn. This sequence is probably in their heads, but wouldn't it be something else if the whole movie ended with the two of them actually getting their own
Yo,
show?
fuck Caesar ads and fuck A&W ads. Fuck them. Shitty ads.
He sees himself as more of a lounge singer.
Ooh, what's in here?
In the lounge. Now, to contrast this, we then see cops dragging
Better
him
be
through a
something
tunnel and
cool.
to show how miserable he is when he is not with Harley. You see this all through the trailer. Very bright, colorful.
Need to find more
art
weapon
landscape
upgrades.
contrasting
I'm
with
missing a
monochromatic,
bunch.
boring, dull colorscape. And then we see 14 steps and protest. So this is probably outside of Arthur's trial. This is interesting though. Harley is dressed more like her comic book counterpart, Harley Quinn. She's got kind of this red flourish, tights, makeup, and she's walking up the steps. Now, there's a few cool details to notice here. One, there's the signs that say Free Joker that emulate his clown makeup. We also weirdly see a cross, there's a Jamaican flag, a sickle. The point is, there's no real ideology here, right? These people don't know what they're here for. They don't have a unified solution.
They're here for the
They
Joker,
think that
baby.
Arthur is their voice. So this seems
Idiot.
makes me think maybe she was his psychiatrist all along. Maybe she was never an inmate in Arkham Asylum with him. And then we see
Ooh,
her
what's in
painting.
here?
When she does this, what she's doing is she's giving her blessing and a shape to his madness. she's essentially telling him, look, you're beautiful when you are insane. And then we see the two of them coming down the courthouse steps. But notice here how the background is removed. So now it looks
Yo, that fucking Joker 2 sex scene was so fucking raw, dude. Holy fuck.
So this scene is recreating that iconic
Dude came in like fucking 11 seconds.
reality, right? The newspaper here says freed on all charges, but when would that paper have been printed? This is very clearly a shared delusion they're having.
I'm not talking about the rape scene.
Sign here that says knock knock, like this whole scene is setting them up for a punchline. Notice this sign says resist, like all the resist protests that we saw after Donald Trump was elected. And then we see massive protests swarming his Department of Corrections.
Right now I'm trying to get all the rigged pieces so I can get the master certificate.
Another dream sequence where he is in a white suit and he's standing in front of a theatrical wedding.
Because I think that would be
Lady
cool.
Gaga is wearing a wedding dress as she walks on this lit pathway that curves to get to the altar. And Arthur's best man is Gary, the little person from the first movie whose life he spared. Then we have
I need at least one more.
Kind of makes me wonder if she's an inmate
That's
or
in the hangar.
This is like her sharing this madness with him, but she's also sharing fire. She is sharing passion. And then we see Arthur beating someone with a bar stool that looks like it takes place in the real world. Again, contrasting the violence of the real world with the idealized version of these musical numbers. Then we see a bit more of the rooftop dance from earlier, with Hotel Arkham lit up in the background. Notice how there's vacancy, probably because this dance happens after the two of them have been free. And then we see what I think is Lady Gaga throwing a trash can into a window showing Arthur on a television. Me and the Screen Crush team think this means she was in the original riots, and this is why she was locked up. So then we see the two of them running down a hallway from a fire. And we think
Man, this guy's so wrong about so many things. It's funny.
Earlier when she said, and then we get a shot of Lady Gaga applying her Harley makeup.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
So there's an this is a courtroom, right? I think they were
Fuck off. Fuck off, cunt. Fuck off.
Maybe the bomb even resulted in a mistrial that ended up bringing Arthur. Then we see them in the same courtroom doing a musical number. It looks like that this courtroom becomes
Fuck off.
Now the button involved in this window too. So again, why is he on the other side of this glass? It makes you think that he's the doctor listening to him to him. I love that they're keeping that ambiguous in the trailer and stays ambiguous all the way through the movie.
Where?
So
Where's the last guy?
face up to match the window. This
Where?
is loaded with symbolism. It's showing how Arthur is using
Oh, there you are, you
persona to
piece of
gain power
shit.
and control, but that
Get
control of
wrecked.
power isn't real. That control is in his head. So he's
Still haven't died. I'm epic.
So as soon as he wears the makeup, he's no longer an ordinary guy. He is the Joker.
I'll be able to do impossible mode, no fucking problem.
But the important thing to note is that when he wears this silly outfit, he doesn't actually gain any.
As long as I have enough ammo, I'm not worried.
Policies that drove him to insanity, but
Alright.
this makeup gives him the illusion of control, and it just makes him feel better.
Let's
that illusion
see.
now extends to all of his followers and to Harley Quinn. Guys, that's all the Easter eggs we found, but if you found any, let me know in the comments below or at me on Twitter. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe, smash that bell for alerts. For Screen Crush, I'm Ryan Airy.
Let's see. Okay, from there. Fuck. Fuck. Come here. Why won't you come out, you bitch? You fucking bitch. What are you... The fuck? Why wasn't that working? That was some bullshit. That one works. That one works. Whoa. Money? Okay. Now, what pisses me off about this is I can't remember what orientation... Ooh, what's this? Marker fragment, perhaps? Yes, it is. Very nice. Okay. Oh my god, I hate this just because you have to, like, reorient yourself and shit. Oh my god, dude. Fuck this puzzle. See, where the fuck am I? Okay, I'm supposed to look this way. Okay. And then this is like, is this a side piece? Yeah, it is. Okay, so... I mean... There. Oh my god, I hate this. I hate this so fucking much. There. Oh, I accidentally solved it. Very nice. That was like 10 times faster than the last time I did this. I'm glad that worked out. Because I fucking hate this part. Okay, where's all the money? There's gotta be more money. Who cares? Okay.
Exiting zero gravity.
I just realized my video's over. I need to put something else on. Fuck it, more Joker shit. Fuck it.
I have never seen a movie that has hated the previous film in the franchise as much as Joker 2.
I don't know, is it really that deep, bro?
Okay, maybe apart from Rise of Skywalker. Yet even by that
Yeah,
metric,
Rise of
Joker
Skywalker
fully
is
up pretentious
fucking...
title, it goes the extra mile to really
Ugh.
show the audience just how much the director hated their last movie
So
and how much he
fucking
rejects
bad,
those who
dude.
enjoyed it. And just for the record, this is going to be a spoiler review. Fair warning, it's a little hard to break down how this catastrophe kind of happened without doing that. There's a lot of issues going on here, but I'm going to say the movie mostly collapses due to Todd Phillips' own, insecurities.
I want that guy's fucking mask.
A movie that everyone would kind of hate, and he succeeded with flying.
Yo, was that the dude from the fucking thumbnail?
$200 million, or frankly, worth the audience's time. One of the biggest criticisms of the original was he kind of copied Martin Scorsese's homework. There's always going to be the debate of when does a tribute become a full-on ripoff, and I really don't want to dig up that debate again. But you don't have to worry anyways, because this time around, Phillips really does his best to make sure that no one can ever accuse him of that.
Why did he put Chen in the escape pod? Like, he's a fucking retard.
Musicals. Bold is often used as a compliment, but in this case, bold doesn't always mean
Her, it's a ship, you idiot. It's an it.
This isn't the horror
Cringe?
lightly pivoting to the action genre of Aliens. This is a big jump that doesn't fully commit to the leap. Phillips is trying to marry the self-serious.
I don't know if I said it before, but she looks so realistic, like, compared to the others. It's pretty cool. The lighting's very impressive.
Choreography and emotion. Big numbers.
Did I go in here yet? Yes, I did, okay.
Down to precise camera movements. Most musical sequences.
Let's get the fuck out of here.
Edgar Wright's Baby Driver, it highlights this as he took the principles.
Baby Driver's a good movie. Die?
Joker 2 never really leans into the genre, not even as much as Baby Driver did. And
Definitely does not lean into it
most
enough.
sequences here, and I do use that term very liberally, they're just kind of one person singing as everyone sort of awkwardly shuffles around next to them, or just kind of ignores.
I actually think it would be cool if they remade the first movie as like a musical.
Emotion or even narrative drive. In a musical, usually characters start breaking into song when they get into like this very big emotional point, where they can no longer express themselves through words. It is their feelings.
Yeah, in Joker 2, they kind of just sing in like moments that don't really matter.
Because it's, it's just time for a new song. There is no weight behind it, and no real narrative thrust. You can remove every single song here, and nothing would change, like at all. It would do nothing to the actual story. They are just space fillers and fluff. This is made all the worse by the fact that they're overlong, frequent,
Too much
and
word.
poorly sung. Well, maybe not the songs from, Lady Gaga. I mean, she still is a very
So
good
how many of
singer.
these nudes do I have?
Phoenix, on the other hand, he reportedly is a good singer, but was intentionally directed by Phillips to sing, rough, I think was the word he used. I think the actual thing he was trying to tell him is sing like crap. Now that is some intentional self-sabotage.
Wanted it to feel dirty in a way that people don't typically see, that maybe weren't the most beautiful renditions of the song.
If you're hoping for some good original songs, don't bother. They are all cover songs to the point that it really starts to feel just like Phoenix and Gaga are doing their best karaoke. In the end, this is a musical that seems rightfully embarrassed that it even is a musical.
I don't know
The
about
advertising
that.
refused to show it, and even in interviews, the cast and the filmmakers, they're openly denying it. But make no mistake, it is a musical. It's just an incompetent one. Believe it or not, This creative choice is actually the smallest complaint for the film. Because in another world, I could have seen this idea weirdly working, where Joker is in Arkham and going deeper and deeper into insanity, and that's manifesting itself as him losing his mind and envisioning everything as this kind of big Broadway production. But here, it doesn't really work that way. It's not
I don't care. You're just a scripted idiot. Oh, look at this guy.
This world are part of this delusion, confused by it, or are just characters in a normal musical where this is perfectly
It's
ordinary.
Mr. Hands.
It's completely muddled. There's a scene where Arthur puts his hand over Harley's mouth and he's just
Uh-oh.
like, nope, stop.
Fuck this.
And this may be the
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, cunt, fuck you.
And the all-original fresh story is not really characters.
Hate these fuckers.
So I just kept, ripping off Goodfellas. A Joker 2 that's ripping off Goodfellas? Yeah, sure, I'll probably watch that. Hit me with that instead. Here we have just this fairly mundane story where Arthur is struggling.
Alright, where am I going? Wants us to go there, so we're gonna go here.
There is a lot of quiet music as the character just
That was a
smokes
good
silently in a
choice.
half-empty room. In fact, if you remove the pointless musical segments and the scenes of Arthur doing nothing but smoking, the movie I think would be about 20 minutes long. It does get a bit of
No, that's a exaggeration. It'd be like 55 minutes.
But beyond that, it never really builds or devolves into the chaos promised by the
I fucking hate all these adults just constantly exaggerating.
It mostly just kind of feels like the finale.
Like, just tell the truth, you fucking coward. Cunt.
It's something, if you've seen the first movie, you've already...
Yeah, the reason I'm moving like this is because my cat has his head right next to my mouse, so I have half an inch of space to move my fucking mouse. Because he's a fucking dickhead. But I love very much.
Why did they do any of this? Perhaps, though,
He's so beautiful and smooth and nice. But he is a cunt.
Half the time, I thought Harley wasn't even real.
He will not leave me the fuck alone.
Which just made me question how Harley got into the cell for, sexy time with Arthur to begin with. In what world are guards just letting her into solitary
Yeah, that
confinement,
fucking sex scene
especially with
was
someone they consider to be
so
a dangerous,
good, dude.
Mass murderer. The first
So
film looked at
good.
what would the character of Joker look like in a really grounded world through a very realistic lens, as this inspiration for kind of an insane society. The sequel asks, what would a courtroom look like if the judge allowed a man pleading insanity to represent himself, treat his court like a comedy club, antagonize witnesses, and dress up
What's
as
in
a clown?
here?
Logic, it's kind of gone straight out the window.
Oh, are we at
Also,
the
if someone were pleading
big
insanity
brute
and did all
area?
the things that Arthur did in this movie, I'm pretty sure the jury would 100% find it insane.
Oh,
And those
shit.
complaints on lackluster story and bad musical, those would be bad enough to sink this entire thing. But we aren't even to the worst part yet. Again, the biggest fault here is Phillips' own insecurities. He hated that people didn't pull from the first movie the message that he really wanted to deliver. But giving
I don't know about
doubt,
that.
He was trying to pitch a theme of evil coming from a lack of empathy. Here, Joker was a man with mental health issues, and the system let him slip through the cracks, creating a man that was allowed to spiral out due to his own loneliness and insecurities, until he finally lashed out at himself.
No, I don't know about that.
Talk about this sort of loss of empathy in the world we live in.
Now that's the favorable look at what he was trying to say. Yet the first film, it was controversial for a reason. A lot of people in the media interpreted it as this kind of clapback at incel culture, and that it was a takedown of lonesome, bitter losers. They even got to the point that they were warning that it was going to cause this big...
I might actually die here.
Violence in the streets and cities burned to the ground.
I don't know if I have enough ammo to
But there
do
were
this.
others who interpreted the character as a misunderstood hero, who gave his rich and privileged abusers exactly what they deserved. I'm more on the side, however, that while I can understand Phillips' intentions, what he ended up doing was kind of treating mental health more as this, violent prop, in an attempt to show that mental instability is not something to be idolized, but rather viewed as kind of sad and pathetic. I wish that he had proved that interpretation wrong, but Phillips, he kind of worked overtime in this movie to prove I may have been right in that initial judgment. The entire movie is a mix of a rug pull and just kind of bludgeoning the audience over the head with Phillips' true message. In the interviews, Phillips tamed his tone and claimed that he was trying to show how people can become a tool of society who want them to be something they're not, while trying to continue the themes of the original film of, social apathy. Essentially,
Fuck you,
Joker
cunt,
was
fuck
just this
you.
role or symbol that was hoisted upon Arthur, and he was not ready for it. But I would more say Joker 2 is about, Arthur learning the true moral of Todd Phillips' story, all while using the courtroom as, a place where people can explicitly state it in clear and unfiltered terms. Harley represents a portion of the audience that was glorifying the Joker from the first film, and is disappointed in his rejection of the violent persona. Arthur's lawyer is just really trying to treat him like this poor man's lamb. The DA, meanwhile, they're really a stand-in for the media, who saw him as inciting, social unrest. And then there's Arthur himself, who has to come to the realization that he should not be the Joker and remain just Arthur. And to the last point, when you strip away connections to DC Comics and expectations for the characters, and just treat this as this isolated character study, that's not such a bad message. Except for the fact, that Arthur only makes this breakthrough thanks to the guards finally breaking him out of his this, you may be asking? Well, by proving the game, get him in a bathroom. Or at least that's very, very heavily implied.
Ow.
This,
Ow.
this
Leg cramp.
to finally reject the Joker. Who greenlit this script?
Fuck, I haven't had one of these in a long time. Oh, fuck.
Todd Phillips a blank check and said, hey, if you come back, do whatever you want.
Oh, you
There's
cunt.
a reason you don't do that.
You fucking cunt.
What
Fuck
exactly
you.
is the message here? Because
Oh, Jesus Christ.
it's treating Arthur's rejection
Oh,
of the
man.
Joker as a positive thing, when all the audience wants to see
Ah,
now is the Joker
dude,
carve these guards
I
up like a
hate
Halloween
these.
pumpkin. This is an insane creative choice.
Oh, my
And the
God.
guards, they never get any kind of comeuppance, by the way. Sure, it's
Ugh.
continuing the themes of lack of empathy,
How embarrassing.
but it's undercutting this movie's themes of choice and social pressure. He isn't choosing to reject the Joker based on something.
Has anyone had a cramp live on stream?
Coming to terms with himself or anything.
I haven't heard of that.
He's crumbling very sadly under PTSD, and
AIDS cannon destroyed. Uh-oh.
Gross, cynical message is to say, I was actually right in my original view of the first film and what Phillips was trying to say. Maybe he was just trying to portray mental illness as sad and pathetic. And you know what? That's not actually very empathetic of him, I would say. I think he wanted to drive home here that Arthur was no kind of, inside hero to be worshipped. What bugged him more than anything else was the perceived wrong crowd did not like his movie the right way. In this movie, it was his time to make sure that Arthur got what he deserved. Why else have a character
I really don't believe this. I think people are looking way too deep into it.
I can see that shadow of the director's
It's not that Arthur gets what he deserves, it's that Arthur reclaims his humanity.
They're not going out of their way just to make trash. Except for maybe this movie. It seems they maybe are. And here he ends up accidentally saying something that I think is pretty ugly. And that's worse, I think.
Oh, so am I supposed to shoot this thing?
As much as he idolized Scorsese, he missed the part that the iconic director, he did typically make people
I don't know if I have anything that can shoot this.
The movies feature characters that think crimes, pay. Then they have this reinforced over and over again. At the end, they learn crime does not pay and are punished to a degree. Having Arthur do great evil and then reject
Wait, can I?
the whole personification that society is trying to push
Fuck me, man.
and then punishing him for it.
There we go.
That is really, really a bad delivery on the themes of
We good? We done?
And I think Phillips missed that. And maybe that's why his original movie was misinterpreted to begin with. Because I think he's just not very good at getting his themes across.
Yeah, this game's getting easier for me, definitely.
There's an easy solution. Put Batman in it. It's easier to root against the villain.
Now, the real question is there anything hidden out here? Like a marker fragment, perhaps?
Arthur gets murdered at the
I don't
by a random
know.
prisoner who tackles madly and carves a grin onto his face with a knife, implying this is the real Joker all along. So thanks for wasting our time in 2 movies. Now, the first film...
No, it doesn't waste your time. He was never the Joker, you fucking idiot. Retard. Mongoloid. Lame moron.
Didn't know that this would tick off, 99% of the general audience and make them feel both fooled and cheated. Putting that aside, even as a character,
If you felt
the movie fails in
fooled or cheated by the Joker 2 ending, you're an actual retard.
in any coherent manner. This is Todd Phillips' inability to let art just stand on its own and let it be interpreted by the beholder. He had to drive home what he meant, and I really wish he had it. At least then, I could have kept giving him the benefit of the doubt. But that's all I got.
Arthur was never going to be... Dude, Arthur is literally like a man-child. He was never going to fight Batman. Owie. It's coming right for us. Shoot. Alright, I guess we have to, get the fuck out of here, perhaps? Maybe? I don't know.
Something stripped the whole crew deck. What hit us? An asteroid?
Those things got onto the Valor, a rescue ship. They found your escape pod, and the one that used to be Chen.
God damn it!
The Valor's scrap. By the time another ship hears the SOS beacon, we'll all be dead.
No.
Stop being such a doomer,
Found an executive
cunt.
on the crew deck, intact.
And the log says that shuttle's missing its singularity core. It can't get us.
Intact, like my little peppercock here. It's not circumcised, see it? Nice.
Where's the Valor now?
It's near comms.
Keep us stable. Isaac, I'll grab a team to EVA onto the Valor. Meet me there. We'll find that core together. CEC clean up their own.
Yeah, you love when I dance. Ugh. Alright, where are we going? Get to the next save station, and then I'm gonna go to fucking bed. Wait, is this... What? Hold up, what? Where am I going? Oh, I didn't mean to use that. Shit. Okay, so there it is, the Valor. There's got to be a marker fragment out here, right? Aw, man. I don't want to miss it, but at the same time, I really don't want to look through all this bullshit, too. What to do, what to do.
Isaac, I'm on board. The Valor's trashed, but I can make it to the bridge.
You're trash, you fucking Vulcan-looking motherfucker. You Newport. Oh, did I say that? Oops. I don't know, I feel like Newport is a cute slur. It's not offensive. Oh, perfect. Chapter 8 done. It's a perfect place to end the stream. I still have not been able to do the epic cheese I want to do, but that will happen. It will happen at some point. Just Savorino right here. And hopefully the next stream I am more high energy. Hopefully we have more people in the chat cheering me on. That'd be epic. And I just want to talk to y'all. But yeah, I love you. I love you very much. Go brush your teeth. And don't masturbate too much or you'll go blind. Bye. Bye.